Tell me how they used to diagnose diabetes back in the day.
Oh, tasty.
They used to drink the urine.
Oh.
So,
That's what Stephanie said.
you might want to put your pizza
I
down.
almost choked on the crust.
So, a urine of a diabetic.
It's sweet.
So, just to make it even more disgusting, I'm going to read you a quote. But urine is sterile, by the way. Do you guys know that?
Urine is sterile.
Yes, it is.
You can use it, they used to say pee to clear your pores.
Yeah.
To clear the baby pee. They said that you use pee.
Yes, yes.
And some people use it to stop the growth of ear on the things, the uric acid in it.
So they put pee on your
Makes
face.
sense. Stop fluid.
I'll go for electrolysis. I'll pay a couple hundred.
No, when I was breaking out faith, they said you could be.
Baby? Did you
Because
have
you know
a
it's
baby
kind
or
of.
did you get some random person?
I didn't repeat it. They said to do it, but that's. I said like when you pee on the seat, it's like, it's sterile, it's not. Unless you got some.
So, now mind you, when we're doing this, just understand, I may not be going and reading everything out of here, okay? You're still responsible for learning it, but I think that maybe if I tell a few stories and stuff, it might help you learn things a little better, okay? So, one of the things that a physician noticed was that when some people, because back in the day, there was no hygiene, right? You just peed and pooped wherever you just darn well felt like it, right? So, what he observed, this physician, was that ants were attracted to the urine of certain people, okay? So, that got him to thinking, why do some people pee and the ants don't care, and other people pee and the ants are all over it? Kind of like when you drop the top off your ice cream cone, and like 2 seconds later, it's just covered with ants, right? So, diabetes was first identified as early as 1500 BC, and in 600 BC, physicians recorded that ants were attracted to sugar in patients' urine. During the Middle Ages, doctors used uroscopy, a practice where they studied urine to diagnose medical conditions. They consulted intricately designed urine flavor charts that described the sight, taste, and smell of urine. The one disease that they diagnosed correctly was diabetes, because the taste, insipidus, was always sweet. So I told you, diabetes insipidus has nothing to do with sugar. So if you were by chance to drink the urine of a patient with diabetes insipidus, it would be pretty blah, right? Because there'd be no sugar in it. So in 1674, an English doctor named Thomas Willis described diabetic urine as, and I quote, wonderfully sweet, as if it were imbued with honey or sugar.
Ooh.
Right? So, diabetes insipidus is a result of, Sandra?
Result.
It's on your
Oh,
As a result of
taking over. No, I'm just kidding.
hyposac.
Excuse me. Low water levels,
Actually,
low fluid levels.
Okay, all right.
why, is it time?
No, not yet, but I have to do it while I have a break in between lab and Alexa lab all night.
You all right?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. I just left my dinner. You know, I have to eat. I cannot skip dinner.
It's reading.
That's why I don't like it. That's why I hate you. No, I'm kidding.
No, she used to make fun of me. They used to make fun of me because every time they would eat, I'd be like, oh, that smells so good. We're not
That's
eating.
what I was just doing.
I'm going to Veggie World.
I literally brought robots.
Yeah. They're the one that got me started on Veggie World.
Way up here.
Mm-hmm.
They make
Have
good
salads?
sandwiches.
Yeah.
They make salads, grinders.
They make
cut up
religious
fresh
house
fruit.
for cheap.
All right, I'll go there. 'Cause this place
But
is like,
that is
is it like gluten free?
low fluid retention,
What's that?
abnormal fluid retention, like
No, diabetes insipidus is too much urine.
too much urine.
Too much urine, that's the hallmark of diabetes insipidus.
So it's too much urine that makes it tasteless?
Nope, there's,
Like right, I'm confused.
so hold up, guys. So, I don't mean to confuse anybody. Diabetes insipidus has nothing to do with sugar, right? The term insipidus, we all think is probably some big medical term. It's not, it just means taste.
tastes
Insipidus
awful.
means tasteless. There's no taste to it, right? So, when you have a diabetic who's in ketoacidosis, which you'll learn about, one of the things that they do is pee, okay? It's called polyuria. 3 P's, not that I expect you to know this now, polyuria, polyphagia, and polydipsia, right? Polyuria means you are peeing all the time. And I don't mean like, oh God, I go to the bathroom every few hours, I pee all the time. I mean like every 15 minutes, they're just peeing gallons, right? But when they are urinating, their urine is full of sugar, diabetic ketoacidosis, or hyperglycemia. If they're urinating a lot, their urine tastes like sugar. And diabetes insipidus, it has nothing to do with sugar, right? So once they started realizing that people who urinate a lot, some sort of diabetes, right? They realized that there's hyperglycemia, and then there's diabetes insipidus, meaning this one isn't a sugar problem because it has no sugar taste to the urine. The reason why diabetes insipidus comes around is because of, Sandra, read your card, hyposecretion of, read your card, ADH.
That's
You guys are lost.
our card doesn't say that.
Anti-diuretic hormone means it's holding on to urine. It's keeping you from diuresing. It is the anti-diuretic, right? So for the girls here, Paul, don't listen. When sometimes it's that time of the month, you can go to the store and you can get those things, Midols or whatever, and it's got a little diuretic in it, right? So that you pee, like get that extra fluid off you. That's what a diuretic does. It pulls fluid off of you. If you're taking an anti-diuretic,
You're retaining.
you're retaining. If you have a hyposecretion of a medication that doesn't make you pee, what's going to happen? You're going to pee. Did I just go backwards?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm an idiot. A hypersecretion of antidiuretic hormone makes you hold on to urine, right?
Yes.
Correct?
So
Everybody follow?
hypo, you wouldn't be able to
So
hold.
let's say no pee hormone. So if you have too much no pee hormone, AKA hypersecretion of antidiuretic hormone, so if you have too much no pee hormone, are you going to pee?
No.
If you have too little no pee hormone, are you going to pee?
Yeah.
Yes, you're going to pee a lot, AKA diabetes insipidus. It has nothing to do with diabetes and sugar. It has everything to do with holding on to fluid or letting it go. Incidentally, another useless fact, well, I don't think so. The treatment for diabetes insipidus is DDAVP, desmopressin, which you'll learn about in pharmacology. Can anybody tell me what DDAVP is also used for? And you really would have to have the experience with it to know it. They give it to kids who want to go to camp, overnight camp, who are bedwetters. It keeps them from peeing.
It controls the urine.
It controls the urine, yeah. So if the kid wants to go to summer camp and it's an overnight, rather than be mortified, like if you've got a 13 or a 14-year-old who's still wetting the bed, which is very common, very, very common, they give them the DDAVP so that they can have a good quality of life.
So does that cause long-term problems?
Nope. Not what, I mean, I'm sure it affects something, but I guess everyone, to be perfectly honest with you, if I had a kid like that, I always said I wouldn't do it, just because I don't like messing with stuff like that, you know what I mean? But that's just my opinion, So ADH, we're good on? Yeah? That's something I'd want you to remember, ADH. Okay? So mark that down in your book as one of the hormones that you might get tested on. What are you smiling at? What are you guys up to?
I feel like I understand what you're saying, but for me, it's like,
Hold on.
is
Guys,
there
hold
a
on.
difference in between diabetes insipidus and polyuria? Is polyuria just
Polyuria is just, and Omari just said, is there a difference between diabetes insipidus and polyuria? Polyuria is a symptom of something, right? So, polyuria just means lots of urine. That's it. So you could have polyuria with like a diabetic ketoacidosis or a diabetes insipidus. Both of them cause a overproduction of urine. So the polyuria is just the symptom. The cause of it is different.
Polyuria when you're pregnant.
Yes, you do. Or, we've heard the term break the seal. If you go out drinking at night and you hold,
So you got polyuria.
you have polyuria, right? Because you're drinking a ton. So polyuria can come from a million different things, right? Technically, when we pee, it shouldn't be any color at all to it. It should really be crystal clear if you're hydrating yourself right. And we all know, you know, after 10 hours on a nursing floor, it's like practically like highlighter yellow because you haven't eaten or drank or anything, right? Running around like a maniac. So, who had thyroid stimulating hormone? TSH.
We did.
Who's we?
Me and, Shalika.
You're right.
So what do you need to
You
know?
on your phone? I'm taking for that one. So, TSH is what? What does it do? To do what?
To produce.
To release. So, you two get together and tell us about TSH. Page 322 in your book. So what are the two things that cause endocrine disease?
You're asking us?
Yeah,
Two things that cause us endocrine disease is.
it's in your book.
I don't have my book. Oh, it's in this one.
What page are we on?
320.
Anybody want to help them?
23.
322.
Secretion, hyposecretion.
Okay, so what are the two causes of endocrine diseases?
overstimulation of thyroid or
Overstimulation or understimulation? Or hyper or hyposecretion, right? So, thyroid stimulating hormone. What is the problem with thyroid stimulating hormone in either of those cases? Anybody want to help?
It's not stimulating. It's stimulating too much or it's not stimulating?
Stimulating too much or stimulating too little? Exactly. Okay. Now, here's an important difference that I need you to make. Does hyperstimulation of TSH cause hyperthyroid?
Yeah.
No, not always. Your thyroid hormones, T3, okay, which, oh gosh, I'm way up. So, on the bottom of table 12-1, on the left side, it says T3 and T4, right? So I relayed a story to you earlier. I told you after my second son was born, I lost my thyroid. And what did I tell you happened to my TSH levels? They increased, right? Why did they increase? They're trying to stimulate the thyroid to release hormones, right? So in a sense, it's trying to bring it back to normal. But it has to get help from something else, and that's your thyroid gland. So the thyroid stimulating hormone is exactly that. It stimulates the thyroid. What two hormones does the thyroid, well, there's a few, but what are the two thyroid hormones that the thyroid hormone secrete? What are they called? And triiodothyroxine. Tri meaning and iodine. Anybody hear of iodine?
Like that.
T3 is 3 iodine molecules, okay? And I tell you that for a reason, okay? Again, I think if you understand this process, it makes sense to you. Because does anybody know one of the treatments for thyroid disease? Well, they use iodine. Has anybody heard of that? Using iodine for thyroid? Happens a lot. So triiodo, so 3 iodine molecules, all right?
Oh, yeah.
It's
better than salt with iodine, salt.
That is excellent.
Yeah.
So, yes, back, and again, another story. Back in the day, you used to have people walking around with these big, thick necks, right? And a big, thick neck in relation to thyroid is known as a goiter, okay? The reason why people were walking around with big, thick necks, way back in the, I think it was the 1920s, they used to have an area of the country that they called, you know how you've heard of the Bible Belt? Well, this is called the goiter belt. So everybody in like this specific geographical area had these big, big thyroids walking around. And the reason why is because they were completely lacking in iodine. So, Naf, what did they do?
Salt,
What about it?
iodine.
They added iodine to salt. So when you pick up a thing of salt at the store, does it say salt? It says iodized salt. And if it wasn't, well, probably not us, because, I mean, we get a lot of everything. We'd be walking around with big goiters too, because we wouldn't have enough iodine in our system to help synthesize T3, triiodo. We need iodine to make these hormones, right? So TSH, hypersecretion is overstimulation of thyroid, hypo is understimulation. So two things can happen. You can have a high level of TSH, but it could mean that here's your TSH and it's coming down to the thyroid, but there's a roadblock here. Nothing's getting by, right? So really, the thyroid is saying, I'm done. I don't care how much you try to get me to work, I'm on strike and I'm not working anymore. So TSH makes the thyroid hormone work. Makes the thyroid secrete what it needs to secrete, okay? So, consequently, we have thyroid hormones, T3 and T4, right? What is hypersecretion of T3 called? Graves' disease or hyperthyroidism. This one, you gotta know. All right, because you will see this, well, actually, you probably see hypo a little bit more, but hyper, so increased T3 or T what? T4, okay? The thyroid hormone is responsible for the metabolism. People say, I have a high metabolism. They could have Graves' disease. And if you turn to page, my least favorite picture in the entire universe, page 330, figure 12-9 illustrates hyperthyroidism beautifully. Because one of the prominent features of hyperthyroid, what do you see those eyes?
They're bulging.
You know what that's called?
Protruding.
Yep. Who said it?
So increase T3 or T4 is an indicator of Graves' disease.
Exophthalmos. Big, buggy eyes. Okay, so. While we're talking about this, and just so you understand, on pages 330 and 331, so the way this works, just to back up a little bit, on page 322 and 323, it gives you just a down and dirty version of these are the hormones, this is what happens when there's too much or too little, right? If we want to know what it looks like, you can go to the subsequent pages and it'll tell us what it looks like, right? So if we were to turn to page 329, 330, 331, that's where you guys can read in a little bit more about this condition. And what's more is
What'd you do to your shoulder?
I got a flu shot. And like they put this, I've never seen this. Has anybody seen this before? I have never seen this. It was like a white thing. It's like a white circle of like foam. And in the middle of it was like a almost like saran wrap.
A shot worker?
And well, they put it on and she just darted me, Pam, right through the dressing, through the plastic. I was like,
So it has to be last week, the lady got me my flu shot, she just jabbed me like a dart. and it was
I felt like, and now it's like,
It hurt for 3 days.
That's
I
crazy
think-
because when I got the flu shot, she like gripped the back of my arm.
she gave it to you in the back of your arm.
Yes.
Wait a minute, right this part?
Yeah.
That's where you give subcutaneous insulin. Your shot should have been 2 finger widths below here. You make the triangle. Your flu shot is always intramuscular.
Oh,
That's where I got mine done.
I got it at CVS too.
I got mine at CVS. I don't even
I
talk
was
bad
like, why
about
is she grabbing the
CVS.
back of my arm?
But CVS is off my list, boy, I'll tell you what. She didn't even wear gloves.
I don't think she did either.
My 15-year-old was with me, and I wanted to get him a flu shot. And they're like, we're sorry, but we don't have any flu shots for under 18. My son was like, yes. But he came into the room with me when they gave the shot. And afterwards, he's like, Mom, she didn't wear gloves. I said, right? I know. It was so weird. And she said that she puts that there so that when she gives me the shot, it protects her from my blood. And I felt like saying, so do gloves, you know? It was the weirdest thing. And they shot. So now I'm thinking like, I have plastic in my arm.
Right.
Like stupid.
Wait, so now I'm still thinking about my flu shot. Like, so does that mean
Did it hurt?
like does that mean that it was effective? Like,
I have never seen. an
I
IM
swear to
injection
God,
go.
she grabbed my arm. I'm
When I
like,
teach my
okay.
students to give insulin, I
Haven't
always
had a
tell
flu
them
shot in a couple of
the
years.
fat part in the arm. Not that you have. an
That's
ounce
what
of
the
it.
book says too.
You do.
Part of the arm for insulin.
Right, but when you're doing an IM, it's 2 fingers below the acromion process. You make a triangle, and that's your landmark. She gave me it right here. Like, I swear to God, I thought she was gonna give it my elbow.
You didn't say nothing? You didn't correct her?
It was too late.
Oh.
I thought she was gonna put the gloves on and take the patch off. She's like, no, I do this to know where I clean. And the next I go, boom, in. I was like, just like that. It was very bizarre.
Yeah, in the
Very
lobby.
So,
Like, get off
I
the
don't
room.
mean to bust on CVS.
Next to the
Not
cards
again.
section.
Yeah, I know.
Did she did my flu shot next to the cards?
Next to what?
The cards.
Yeah.
The greeting
they're for
cards.
Everybody. I
What?
don't even got taken into a room. No.
No.
She didn't put you in a chair?
Yeah.
In the card section.
Like the greeting cards, like happy birthday?
Yes.
You're not serious, are
Farmington
you?
No. Yes.
That's what
Where in Bristol?
No. In the corner. I mean, it's like the Hartford, West Hartford borderline.
Oh, I know exactly where that is.
It's like corner of Farmington and Prospect.
Hello, Daytona. I don't know.
I'm gonna make sure when I go get mine, they're not gonna let me do it right there.
Well, why
'cause
don't
I
you
have
just
kids
not
that
go,
get
just,
mine.
Yeah, let's go and go
just
there.
go to like Rite Aid.
Flu shots.
give it to you.
Miss Holiday.
Mrs. Holiday.
Which?
We don't
Yes,
let
she
her
is.
know.
Put it in her, spot box.
I always tell the lady, like, over here, but like, right here.
Yeah, because you're
Which Crystal, you see this is rude, so I don't want it.
Farmington Ave.
I'm pretty sure it's,
But clearly,
oh,
Farmington Ave.
yeah, I'm gonna say, I'm pretty sure it's
So
all
any
but no.
CVS on Farmington Avenue.
Don't go
anywhere. Oh, Hartford. There's two on Farmington Ave. There's one like in Hartford and one in West Hartford.
Mhm.
On Farmington Ave in Bristol.
The Walgreens on South Street, in Irving. You put it in the back of my triceps.
Maybe
That's what she just said they did.
They literally did like right here.
Yeah, maybe
I
some
already-
new thing, maybe you could give it
No, it's
there.
not.
I already-
No, it's not. It is not a new thing. Unless it is not an IM flu vaccine, which, believe me, I give about.
No,
100.
it was I am, because she had to put the sticker on the paper, right?
That's right. Do you have the paperwork with you?
I gave it to Miss Holiday. I'm pretty sure it's in my
I
email.
guarantee you it will say I am, given, and I bet you it says deltoid. Look.
I'm gonna
Do
try
you
to
have
find
it?
it. I'm gonna try to find it.
I'm out. I gotta see this. Where's the deltoid, guys?
Right here.
Right here.
Is this your deltoid? No. Let's see what the documentation says. That would piss me off. Excuse me. No, it wouldn't.
We go back to.
Do you have your documentation, Paul?
Sorry?
You have your documentation?
I'm actually looking for my flash drive right now because I saved it to the flash drive.
No, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I wouldn't go get another.
Oh, it was a booster. Wait,
What? No.
No.
yeah, it
No.
was a booster.
Our boosters.
No,
Varicella
no,
booster.
no. A flu is not a booster.
Oh, wait. No. This wasn't a booster.
No.
So this, what she had did was a booster. It wasn't a flu shot.
Have you got your flu shot yet?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what I was talking about, it wasn't.
Yeah, but your boosters are still IM.
Yeah.
Oh,
So when it's.
and
a
she put
booster-
sub-Q.
Oh, she did?
Mm-hmm. Left upper arm.
No. Oh, sub-Q. Okay. Huh. Wow.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
Things have changed. So we're gonna talk more about hormones when you guys come back. Eat. Drink a 5-hour energy or a Red Bull. If you have to. Marisol,